Peggy 3.
Welcome to the Boot Room. I'm joined by Darren Cross from Match Magazine, and this week we're talking defending. Now, if you don't score too many goals yourself, these tips are for you, isn't that right, Darren?
Yeah, that's right. We're going to look at ways to defend against different types of players online in FIFA 13.
And what types are there?
For example, players that like to play with pace, good passing teams, tricksters, that kind of thing.
Right, so let's start with people that like to rip through your defence. How can we stop them from doing that?
Yeah, there are a couple of things you can do. I think the most important thing is not to allow too much space behind your defence. So you definitely don't want to be bringing your centre-backs forward to press the ball at all. If you do that, you're going to leave a big gap.
So stay off that right bumper,
yeah? Yeah, exactly. You don't want to leave a gap because someone plays a through ball and you're not going to catch them up. So that's the first thing. Always keep in mind that your back four must retain its shape and not leave too much space behind. Secondly, you can also reduce the space behind your back four by editing a custom tactic. You can lower the team pressure, you can set your defensive line to cover, which is really important, and you can make your team shape more narrow. All of that combined is going to make it much harder to get the ball in behind your defence for a quick striker to run on, so it is very effective against teams that like to attack with pace.
Now, some people may not have even touched custom tactics, so how do you set it up and then how do you use it in a match?
Yeah, well, first of all, you set it up offline. You don't want to keep somebody waiting while you're tinkering around with your tactics.
That'd be annoying.
So go into your customised FIFA settings and your team management, then head down to custom tactics, tinker around with the parts that we mentioned, and then save that into your quick tactics. Then when you're in the game, you can select that sort of on the fly, if you like, by pressing down on the D-pad and then choosing the direction that you saved the tactic to.
Now, I've played against some people where the olés begin because they're passing the ball around. How do you play against people that love to pass it?
First of all, if they're passing it around in their own half, let them do it there. That gives you an opportunity to get your team set, and then they've got to come and break you down. So they're actually making it more difficult for themselves, really, by passing it around in their own half. When they advance into your half, that's the time to come to life and be a little bit more aggressive with your containing of the ball. And one of the things I like to do is have the AI secondary contain the player in possession by holding right bumper. And then with the player I've got selected, I'll look to cover the passing channels or where I think the opponent might look to pass the ball. So effectively, I'm pressing the ball and I'm also covering the pass. It gives me a really good chance to win it back.
Anything else you can do against passing teams?
Yeah, the radar's a really useful tool.
Often overlooked as well.
It is, yeah. Particularly, when someone's passing the ball around a lot, a quick look at the radar will show you where the gaps are, and then you'll be in a much better position to sort of cover those gaps and go from there.
Now, in our FIFA career, we've all been ripped apart by a few tricksters now and then. How do you stop them from running rings around you?
Yeah, I think the most important thing against a player that likes to do the skill moves is not to dive into any tackles. If you do that, that's what they want you to do so that they can move around you with a trick.
It's very tempting to slide in there.
It is, yeah. One of the ways I like to defend against a trickster is to run in and look like I'm going to commit to a tackle, and then at the very last second back out slightly. And what happens then is the player will execute the skill move and you're in the perfect position to just intercept the ball and off you go.
And how do you do that? Are you sticking a leg in manually or are you using auto tackle?
No, I use the auto tackle a lot. If I'm really sure I'm going to win the ball back, I'll use a standing tackle, or if I really have to, a sliding tackle. But 9 times out of 10, I'll let the game tackle for me and just concentrate on moving my man into the right position or where I think the ball's going to go.
Any final tips against skillers?
Yeah, I'd say constantly keep in your mind that you're playing against somebody that likes to do the skill moves, because what that means is they'll probably try to score elaborate goals. So if they're through on goal and it looks like they're going to go for the tap in, you can pretty much expect a spin or a turn. So just keep that in your mind and constantly remind yourself that you're playing against somebody that wants to beat you with a move, and you have a good chance of getting the ball back.
Thanks for those tips. Hopefully they'll help us all keep more clean sheets in the future. Darren, what we're looking at next week?
Next week we're going to look at finishing and ways to make the most of those scoring chances.
Awesome stuff. Look forward to it. We'll see you right here next week in the Boot Room.